Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're doing an FPL preview for Game Week 24. It's the double game week. It's arrived. That's right. There is only 4 teams doubling, so calm down. Next week it's only 2, and the week after that it's 14. So let's go through all the double game week news, all the injury news. It feels like there's been a bit of a crisis recently, and let's talk through captaincy, transfers, and much, much more. Let's get into it. So, in this game week, what are we doing? Well, let's first say that in game week number 26, we have the following double game week. So, Villa have got 2 games, Leeds and Sheffield United. Decent. I've got Jack Grealish, so I'm not complaining. Burnley, they've got Spurs and Leicester. Ooh. Chelsea have got Man United and Liverpool. Ooh. Palace have got Fulham and Manchester United. Meh. Everton, Southampton and West Brom. Pretty nice. Leicester, Arsenal and Burnley. Liverpool, Sheffield United and Chelsea. Man City, West Ham and Wolves. Man United, Chelsea and Palace. Sheffield United, Liverpool and Villa. Ouch. Southampton, Everton and Spurs. Spurs, Burnley and Southampton. West Brom, Brighton and Everton. Decent, but it's West Brom. And Wolves, Newcastle and Man City. So that's the Game Week 26 fixtures. Now there's 2 doubles, or 2 extra games in this game week. And that's, of course, Burnley versus Fulham and Everton versus Man City. And next week, we've got 4 extra games. So, no, is that right? No, sorry, 1 extra game, I think. Because Leeds and Southampton both double in Game Week 25. So they face each other. Whereas Southampton's first game is against... Who is it against? It was someone decent, I think. Let me just check that for you, people. But we're just going to get through to that. So, yeah, they obviously play Wolves this week, Southampton. And then the week after, they play against... Yeah, that's it. Chelsea. So they play Chelsea and then they play Leeds. Whereas Leeds play Wolves and then Southampton in Game Week 25. And then Game Week 26, we've just heard it. So that makes it interesting. That's for sure. But we're going to talk about my team this week. And we're going to get straight into it. So I had a great week last week. 73 points with the -4, 69. We don't mind it. So let's get into it. And to start off with, in goal, we've got Mendy. What a legend. Edouard Mendy, cracking goalkeeper. And if you look at his record in the last 4 game weeks, he has been solid. So, actually, I say that, even before that, the Fulham game as well. So you got clean sheet against Fulham, clean sheet against Wolves, clean sheet against Burnley, clean sheet against Tottenham. Quality. I mean, the Sheffield United game was unfortunate. Own goal. But I saw it coming, hence why I benched him. But, you know, that's just an anomaly. They're very solid at the back, Chelsea, and they face a Newcastle team that just can't score goals. And their one source of goals this season is now injured, Callum Wilson, for 6 to 8 weeks. Ouch. So, Edouard Mendy, very good chance of a clean sheet there. So, I'm very happy about that. And he's got, of course, a double game week coming up against... not exactly ideal stuff, Man United and Liverpool, but he still gets save points. So, yeah. Then on the 3 defence that I've got in my team, I've got John Stones. What a legend. John Stones. That Man City defence is solid. He nearly scored against Liverpool, but it was ruled out. But it's 2 fixtures. It's 2 fixtures for Man City, Spurs and Everton. And that defence is so solid. You can always rely on it. Now, Spurs at home, how do I see that going? It's probably going to be a tight one, but it could be full of goals. So maybe not a clean sheet there. But Everton, very likely. Because Calvert-Lewin is injured. He's unfortunately not going to be coming back for that Fulham game. But he may for the Man City game. But that's just rushing him back in. So doesn't necessarily mean he'll score against Man City. And that could be... harder for the likes of Richarlison to get in the groove with Calvert-Lewin missing for that Fulham game. So, yeah, it might be a decent fixture against Everton. Spurs might be harder, but if Man City can just stay solid defensively and keep it tight, maybe nick a 1-0 or a 2-0, then there's a clean sheet there for Stones. But we know with Stones, he's got attacking potential. He showed it in the double game week last time in game week 19, so hopefully he can do it again. Imagine if he got another 27-pointer. I'm not expecting it, but it would be incredible. So yeah, he's in very good stead for this game week. Then next to him, we've got Max Killman. What a legend. 8 points against Leicester. But he was on my bench. Of course he was. A lot of people would have had him on their bench. No one really saw that Wolves clean sheet coming. But yeah, bonuses as well to top it off. He's a good player to own. He's a good squad player and a good bench player. But I want to move on to better things. So my transfer this week is Killman out and Ben Mee in. It makes so much sense. That Burnley team has got games against Palace and Fulham. Clean sheet galore. And, you know, with Ben Mee, he's got attacking potential. And he likes a little header once in a while. And I just feel he's nailed on in that Burnley team. He'll get a header and he'll probably score it. And actually, in this fixture last season away to Crystal Palace, he scored a wonderful header. So I think history could repeat itself. But anyway, Ben Mee, for a short-term punt, is going to be quality. The reason I say short-term is because Burnley's fixtures in Game Week 26 and I think that Game Week 27 are pretty tough. So we might get rid then. But for this double game week, he is perfect. So it's a nice short-term punch-up. Well, not a punch-up. That sounds a bit violent. But a nice short-term punt. That's not punch-up. Punt. That's the word. And Ben Mee is my guy. It's got to be done. It simply has. So he's going to come in for Max Killman. So Max Killman's place is in the starting 11, but Mee will come in at the last minute. So that's my one and only transfer this week, because it just didn't make sense to make the -4, and I'll talk about that in a second in relation to some transfers I was thinking of doing. But my next defender next to him is Ruben Diaz, and he had a stomach problem, and I was thinking, is this an absolute joke? My defender that looked an absolute gem for this week having to not be in the team, but it's going to be alright. He's going to play. He looks like he's going to be cleared to play. It looks very, very probable. And it's 2 games anyway. You know, he would have got probably an attack and return in one of them, so it counteracts even if he did miss one. But it's looking likely he's going to be recovering in time for that game against Spurs and that game against Everton. So very, very nice stuff indeed. Hopefully some points there. And, you know, with Ruben Diaz, he's a solid defender. One of the highest scoring this season. So, yeah, that's a solid defence of Stones, Ben Mee and Diaz. All 3 of them with double game weeks. So that is just beautiful. Lots of points there. And then we've got the midfield. The midfield is looking tasty, as always. James Rodriguez, first of all, who, after coming in last week, on his debut for my FPL team, I say debut, I had him early on in the season, then he went off the boil and I got rid, but I got back in this week and he scored against Manchester United. What a finish, and took the pass very, very well from Abdoulaye Doucouré. One touch to control it and stroke it past De Gea. And yeah, he just looks a great player. He's in the scout of the team of the week this week, and you say why not? Because he's a player on form, he's a classy player, and he's got 2 fixtures. First against Fulham. Fulham have been improving, but they're still a team to target. They're still a team that can concede. And James Rodriguez is going to very much shine with the absence of Calvert-Lewin. So, yeah, I'm very happy to own him. And Man City at home, not ideal. But with these big game players, they can step up whatever the game. Then we've got Jack Grealish. Game against Brighton away. Lovely, lovely stuff. He's often scored against Brighton. But the thing about Grealish is he's such a big part of that team that you just know he's going to be involved somehow. And people are saying, oh, he doesn't get enough goals, but he gets assists. He gets bonus points, and that's points. That's, you know, very much good enough. And if you look across the season, he's been one of the most consistent midfielders. He hasn't blanked since the only... Alright, let me rephrase that. In the last, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... In the last 7 game weeks, he's blanked twice. Now that is consistency. And at one point in the season, I did think I should just pop the captaincy on him, but it hasn't worked that way, and I've had better fixtures to put on the captaincies. But he is so consistent, and he's, as I said, such a talisman for that team. And he faced a Brighton team They have been improving, to be fair. Good wins in the recent games and defensively quite solid. But I still feel Jack Grealish is the man, and he's the talisman. And he always does, do well for these kind of games against lower teams. I think Villa will fancy their chances here. So, yeah, Grealish I'm happy to own, and hopefully we can get some points from him. Then we've got Bruno Fernandez. And by the way, I'm going to talk about captaincy right at the end of the video, so hold on tight for that. But Bruno Fernandez, we've got a game against West Brom. Not bad, but, it's one fixture. It would have been nice to be two, but it's West Brom, so you don't get a much better single game week fixture. West Brom, absolutely leaky. The worst defence, I'm pretty sure, in the league, alongside with Sheffield United. They're so poor at the Hawthorns. And you know that Man United are brilliant away from home, as is Bruno Fernandez. And obviously scored an absolute screamer of a goal last week against Everton. That was amazing stuff. So happy to have him in my team, of course. He's an absolute jewel of a player. And then we move on to Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan is the man. What a legend. 13-pointer against the champions. That guy knows no bounds. And the only week he's done wrong for me was that week that I captained him against Sheffield United when I brought him in. But since then, it's been all uphill. It's been brilliant. And he's got two fixtures. Lovely stuff. You could argue he's going to get Pep Roulette. He's going to get rotated out. But the way that Gundogan's been playing, there's just no way he's going to get taken out of the team. And KDB's still injured. And Fernandinho is still injured. So there's no need for Gundogan to get dropped. It's not going to happen. And he got taken off early in the FA Cup to give him a rest. So he should be fine to play both games. And yeah, Gundogan is on penalties. He's just a great player. He will hopefully put his penalty right this time in one of these games. But yeah, he's a great player to own in the absence especially of KDB. And then we've got Mohammed Salah. Salah is the conundrum for a lot of people this season. Especially the last 4 or so game weeks. Liverpool have really been dreadful. And part of that has been the front three not functioning as usual. But it's still Mohammed Salah. That's what we've got to remember. He's still a good player. And we shouldn't underestimate him. He faces Leicester, which is a tough game. But Salah can score against anyone. And we know with Liverpool that they're going to be going into this really very much determined to win. Because it's a big top 4 clash at the King Power. And Liverpool have a good record. They beat them 4-0 in this game last season. 3-0 in the reverse fixture. So it could be a game where Liverpool really rip up Leicester, to kind of get back and get frustrated and want to correct the mistakes from that Man City game. So Salah could be perfect to get involved in the goals. And yeah, I just think that Salah is Salah. It's a risk to sell him. It's not even a bad choice to sell him. But I'm not going to. I'm going to play him against Leicester and see what happens. We've frozen again, as usual, but it is what it is. Then my front two is, first of all, Patrick Bamford. What a legend. Comes into the team last week, and straight away, he scores the goal versus Palace. His 100th career goal, and he's just brilliant stuff. Leeds, the way they play is so attractive and ambitious and, ballsy, but it's good to play like that because you will often get the results. Now, they play against Arsenal, which on paper is a tough fixture, on paper. But Arsenal have had a lot of injuries. They've had a few red cards. They could be leaky. So Bamford will probably be in the goals. I mean, with Leeds, you never quite know. So they could from one week lose 2-0 and then the next week win 3-1. But ultimately, Bamford is so involved in chances for that team. And Arsenal can sometimes be leaky. The only thing is that it's at the Emirates Stadium. And Arsenal do tend to perform better there. But I've still got faith in Bamford, and I still think he's a good player to own, especially with that Gameweek 25 double coming up for Patrick. So, yeah, he's my first forward. And then we've got Michail Antonio. Now, Michail, you're one of the men that I was thinking about moving on this week. The reason behind that, he's not got a double game week, which is a bit of a shame. But basically, he got up, he picked up, I should say, from that Fulham game, a bit of an injury. Absolute nightmare for my captaincy, and How I still got a green arrow with captaining Antonio, I don't know, but just shows the likes of Rodriguez and Bamford chipping in was so crucial. But ultimately, a real shame to see him go off. Didn't have any part to play in the game at Old Trafford in the FA Cup. Fair enough, they wanted to rest him. And he might just be back for this game, so hopefully that is the case. He does play Sheffield United, which is a good fixture, so we've got to consider that. But West Ham haven't been scoring many goals this season, so it could be a tight one. Not many chances maybe for Antonio, but I'm just thinking about the fixture, and I think it's worth putting a punt that he will play. I think he will, and it's Mikel Antonio. Now, I was thinking at one point to transfer him out for somebody else like Ollie Watkins, who's in brilliant form, but it is Brighton, which are slightly better defensively, and I feel like Grealish is more likely to get an assist this week, than a Watkins goal maybe, but just because of how solid Brighton are, I think it will be limited chances, so we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. But Watkins could be a player we get in future game weeks, because he does have a very nice double game week against Leeds and Sheffield United, so that's very much one to consider. But Mikel Antonio is worth keeping, especially for this week. Sheffield United are leaky, and Antonio is on his day very capable of getting a big haul. So he's going to be in my team, despite with Ruben Diaz, just like him, he's got 75%, but he should be alright. Hopefully he should recover in time from his fatigue to play this game. So that is my lineup. And then we have Sanchez in the second goalkeeper. Absolute legend of this team. But to be fair, Villa is actually quite a tough fixture, so it makes sense to bench him. Then the first sub is going to be Cresswell. Reason behind that, I just fancy me to get more points in 2 games than Cresswell in 1. But Cresswell could easily score or get an assist in this game. So if one of my players does get injured or does miss out for some reason, Cresswell is a great man to come in. Very, very consistent. And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, second on my bench, is going to be... And he's just a frustrating one, because I looked at that double game week for Gameweek 24 and just thought DCL, it would be perfect. And when I didn't get the points from his big haul against Manchester United, you thought, oh, well, at least I'll get the points when he does well in the double game week. But then he goes and gets injured in the FA Cup, and I just wish he hadn't played that game against Tottenham. But it is what it is. We can't control what Carlo Ancelotti does, but it's so frustrating. He's going to miss the best game of this double game week, which was Fulham at home. But he does play Manchester City at home. I just feel, though, DCL probably won't do anything in that game. I think Man City have been one of the best defences, and I think that, he'll struggle to get straight back into the groove when he's just had a game missing, and they won't have the chemistry straight away. So, yeah, it's a difficult one, and I think most of the time you should always back the attacker over the defender. But Cresswell has got a better fixture, and, with Antonio, he's got one fixture, but it's arguably more likely to get points than Manchester City at home, because it's much tougher. And Calvert-Lewin, you'd say, well, maybe he's not going to play at all. That could be the chance of that. If Richarlison and, maybe Cenk Tosun or even Michael Keane, I say Michael Keane because I don't mean it, I meant Josh King. If they do well in the first game against Fulham, maybe Calvert-Lewin doesn't even play, but we've got to be confident that Calvert-Lewin maybe plays a part. If need be, he can come in if one of our starting players are injured. But I don't know. I feel like Calvert-Lewin, he's still a forward, so that's why we're going second on our bench and not third, because there's a chance he could play. And on third bench, we've got Stuart Dallas, absolute legend of this team. I've sung his praises all season, but he's got a fixture against Arsenal. It's not ideal, and I don't think he's going to get an attack in return. I could be proven wrong, but I just think Arsenal is on their day, or Arsenal could turn on the style, and it could be not many points for Dallas. So that is my lineup. And with Calvert-Lewin, I was thinking I might have to sell this guy soon, and I might have to get in Ollie Watkins or even Richarlison with him doing well in midweek in the FA Cup. But I'm not going to do that. Calvert-Lewin is a stay. He's a hold for me because he's going to be massive, I think, provided he's back for that double game week 26. He's going to be massive, and, there's no point of transferring him out now if you can just bench him and play other good players. And that's the luxury of my team. I've got good other players in other positions that I can just bench Calvert-Lewin. So, yeah, that is my decision. And I was going to do the -4 because I was thinking about other transfers. I was thinking about getting rid of some of my West Ham assets because I said how they haven't got a double game week. And I was also thinking about how I was going to get in maybe Ollie Watkins or even someone like, who was it? It was it? Yeah. Yeah. So, like a Manchester United defender, they've got a nice double game week. A Chelsea defender, but I've got Mendy already. It could even be a Leicester player after they faced Liverpool. But there's so many options, and that's the thing with FPL. Sometimes you can overthink it. So I just think the -4 this week, with the players I've got right now, it's just not going to be worth making the -4. So I'm just not going to do it. It's as simple as that. So this is how my team lines up for game week 24, the double game week. And we will come to captaincy just in a second. But as you can see here, if we just focus the thing, there it is: Mendy, Diaz, Killman, Stones. That's I think that's Salah. Then Gundogan, Bruno. Then it's who's that? Yeah, it's Grealish, of course. Rodriguez, Bamford, Antonio. So that's my team. But who is my captain? Well, right now it's on Bruno Fernandez. You might say, oh, why would you do that? That's a silly move. But shall I tell you why? Bruno Fernandez this season has been consistent. If we look back at his previous games, game week 1, all right, the whole Man United team was awful. Well, technically it's game week 2, but they missed their first game. Game week 3, only their first away game of the season, and he gets a 12-point haul. Then Spurs scores their only goal when Man United are terrible. Then the fifth game of the season, game week 5, scores and gets an assist. And then only 2 games against top 6 teams does he not score, which is probably, justified. Then 2 goals against Everton and an assist. Goal against West Brom. Goal and an assist against Southampton. Another return against West Ham. A game against Man City, which was always going to be tight and tough, doesn't score. The only exception to this is probably Sheffield United and Burnley. Sheffield United and Burnley, away from home, both of the games, they were tight games. He just couldn't find a magic moment. But other than that, he's got so many points. And obviously, they did lose that game at home, Sheffield United, did Manchester United. But other than that, he has been consistent. And that's why I'm very tempted to captain him. Even though it's just one game, because it's West Brom. It's West Bromwich Albion. He, of course, got the decisive moment with a penalty, got the rebound, I think, or at least the retaken penalty, and scored it. So there's more potential for him to be the player of that game as well. And I get what you're saying about Gundogan. It's between him and Gundogan this week. It's as simple as that. It's difficult because there always is a tendency, when it's a double game week, you say, oh, you have to captain a double game week player. And I do understand that thinking, but it's Bruno Fernandez. He's in such good form. So is Gundogan, to be fair. And he's got 2 fixtures. But number one, what if there has been a bit of Pep Roulette? Like, we just don't know Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is renowned in previous seasons for being an FPL hater. He doesn't know the game, I'm sure. I'm sure he's not trying to annoy us FPL managers, but he doesn't really matter. Well, it doesn't matter to him who plays in that Man City team most of the time. And with this double game week, I just fear, the Spurs game is on the Saturday. And then the Everton game is on the Wednesday. So you could argue it's a big enough gap. But ultimately, it's 4 days. And they did just play in the FA Cup. And he started Gundogan, started Sterling. Could there be more Pep Roulette in town? If there is, then obviously I'd love to captain Fernandez. If there isn't, I'd love to captain Gundogan. But we just don't know. And I think most people with that 2 fixtures will be captaining Gundogan. So it could be more differential to captain Fernandez. So it's a tough one, I'll admit. The amount of times it's flipped between the 2. And you know how FPL worked. If I end up captaining Fernandez and it's Gundogan that gets more points, I'll be gutted. But that's the way FPL sometimes does it. You can really overthink something and it does it the other way. And even if you had done it the right way, not in that scenario would it have actually gone your way. So I could lose either way, but ultimately there's two very good premium picks to choose from there. And I think I'm spoiled for choice, but I'm going to go for Bruno Fernandez. It's West Brom, it's Bruno. Let's see what happens. But that is my FPL preview done for game week 24. I haven't locked it in Killman to Ben Mee just yet, but it will be done very, very soon. So don't worry about that. But that is my team, people. If you think it's a good one, it would be good if I didn't drop it. If you think it's a good one, then comment down below your thoughts. Of all times, it just doesn't... I wish for one day it would... There we go. That's the team. It did focus in the end. But yeah, I'm happy with it. And Why Do I Never Win is the team name. We're ranked 244,000 in the world. Hopefully, we can keep going up, keep shooting up. And there's now over 8 million FPL players. Unbelievable, Jeff. But this is game week 24. This is the double game week. Let's try and get another triple digit score. Imagine the scenes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.